je parle, des fois tu ne m'entends pas. Comme un écho qui s'évapore dans l'univers. Sans retour, tu me laisses sans voix.
Hello, we are here today with the brand new 24-inch French door wine and refreshment refrigerator by the good folks at NEWAIR'S. Now, they were kind enough to send us this, and when I got it in the mail, I thought to myself, now is the perfect opportunity to do what many of you have asked me for in the past, which is to do a wine and cigar pairing. Now, we once upon a time did an episode of Spirited Smoke that was all about wine and cigar pairings, but this one in particular, this video in particular, will be about red wine and cigars. That's what we're doing here today. So, with all that being said, first thing you need to know about pairing wine and cigars are that a lot of the industry greats do this on a daily basis, okay? It can pair together very, very well. But the first thing that I need you to start thinking about when pairing anything is walking into the situation with as much knowledge as possible, okay? So I typically will not know what cigar to pair with what wine without trying the wine first. Why? Because I want to either contrast or blend with whatever I'm sipping on. That's how you do a pairing. It either contrasts or it goes with. So, what we need to do today is taste the wine. I'm gonna go ahead and pour this wine now. Okay, now this is a wine that you can commonly find. It's called Decoy. It's a Pinot Noir out of California. I believe we got it at Costco, which actually has a pretty fantastic wine selection. Their buyers do an incredible job. First thing I do when I pour a red wine is I get a little aeration on that, right? So we're gonna spin this, get some air in there, and then we're gonna nose it. And this is the equivalent of cold drawing a cigar. Blackberries, walnut, major oak, and what they describe as tannin, which is like a dry, it's something that happens during fermentation. You can pick up a lot of tannins. Some would say bitter, but they also balance out sweetness. So it's pretty balanced. Unlike cold drawing a cigar being unpredictable, in other words, a lot of times what you cold draw on a cigar, it doesn't necessarily show its face once the cigar is lit. Nosing wine is much more predictable. I'm probably gonna get notes very similar to what I just picked up on the nose. Blackberry. The tannins are there. The oak is there. It's sweet, but then it does balance with, I don't want to call it a bitter. It's not bitter. It dries and then fades. Really nice wine. Really good table wine. Everyone I've given it to has been very impressed with it. Now, I have 4 cigar options right in front of me. Why do I have 4 cigar options in front of me, and where do they come from? Why did I think of these? The reason is because all 4 of these cigars were handmade by the great Jochy Blanco out of the Dominican Republic. Now, for those of you that don't know much about Jochy Blanco, he is a 3rd-generation tobacco grower, and he is a 1st-generation tobacco master blender. So Jochy's the first in his family to actually start making blends out of their own tobacco rather than selling it. This is a man who understands fermentation and curing like no one else. It really is his business. So we have these 4 cigars. All 4 of these cigars were pretty much viral cigars for one reason or another. And as I'm looking at how playful these cigar bands are, I'm realizing we have to do something very special with Jochy, maybe a little bit of a more mature line with him. But these are a big part of Privada history. First of all, we have the Not Tony. And the reason why I chose Jochy Blanco's cigars are because Jochy gets, where a lot of cigars I get a lot of cedar, with Jochy stuff I get a lot of oak. And it may not surprise you then to know that Jochy has actually made cigars specifically for the French clergy to pair with wine. So we have those in stock. They're aged to who knows when, 5, 6, 7 years, and they're probably almost gone. We've had them forever. They're called the French Collection. But let's go through these real quick. So the Nat Tony is a contender. Why? It's got the sweetness. It's got that sugar flake kind of situation. It's got oak. It's got enough black pepper on it to compete with the boldness of this Pinot Noir, which isn't overly bold. We have the Cigar, which I'm leaning towards right now. Similar to the Nat Tony, it's got the sweet thing. It's got the oak. It's also got the black pepper, but it's got a little bit more of a punch on the finish. The two that I'm ruling out automatically are the Uncle Paulie's Deli, and shout out to my people, my famiglia, over at Uncle Paulie's Deli in Los Angeles, at all your locations. I can't wait to see where this thing goes. What you guys are doing is absolutely incredible. So shout out to Uncle Paulie's. If you're near Los Angeles, go into Uncle Paulie's, mention Privada Cigar Club, and say hello to Paul for us. And then the other one I'm ruling out, although I'm starting to think maybe it could be the one, is the Twin Pines. The Twin Pines literally had like a pine wood kind of pine needle, very Christmassy, very Christmas cake. It was fruity, but it was also very pungent. This is a tough one. I actually think in the end I'm gonna go with the Twin Pines. This beautiful box press is all up in my grill, y'all. And yeah, we gotta do something about this. It's all up here, and now it's time to smoke this thing. It's got a very loose draw on it, something that I do remember about this cigar, and I can be a big fan of, although it can play with the balance of a cigar. Well, wow, that's just a surprise. That's a shot in the kisser right there, William. That is herby. That is oaky, but it is herby. If you're going to an event and you're not used to drinking wine, just don't grab it like this and don't cup it like this. So it's one of these. I'm trying to help you here so you don't fail that test on your first date at Wine Down Wednesday or wherever the hell people drink wine anymore. All right. We're toasting. We're toasting feet here. All right, Jochy. Magnifico. This is more pungent than I remember. It's like pungent oak instead of pungent cedar. It's got a bite. It's got herbs. So the cold draw was a bit indicative of what the cigar is tasting like. It is oaky as a mug, though. I mean, you really, you probably couldn't go wrong with at least these three. The Uncle Paulie with the Connecticut wrapper on it might not have been a good choice. It probably would go better, believe it or not, with a white wine or champagne. What I like to do is once the wine is poured and I'm having a conversation, I like to spin it out of my glass onto people by accident. It's a great conversation starter. Or on myself. In order to pair wine, particularly white wine or champagne and cigars or beer and cigars, you're going to need something like this 24-inch French door wine and cooler or wine and refreshment refrigerator from the great folks at NEWAIR. Thank you so much for sending this to us. This is a beautiful piece. First thing I noticed about it was the French door and dual zones. So you can cool wine at one temperature and beer or other refreshments at another temperature. That's that. I hope you enjoyed wine and cigar pairings with your host, Brian Descent of Privada Cigar Club. I look forward to the next video. And please, as always, email me any suggestions at info@privadacigarclub.com. Thank you very much.
Je parle des fois, tu ne m'entends pas. Comme un écho qui s'évapore dans l'univers. Sans retour, tu me laisses sans voix.